And
This
then
conference will now be recorded.
Okay,
so however much.
and put your camera on.
Huh?
Start over. Go ahead.
Wait, what did you say?
You should put your camera on.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay, so for the adding purchases, we got 33,100,000 from adding how much we put into the raw materials for ink and paper. So that's 2,200,000 plus 900,000. And then got the less ending purchases from adding the red, which is how much is left over from each one. And for the raw materials used, I just went to each of the work in progress T-charts for principles, intermediate, advanced, and tax. And then that's how I got all of the raw materials used from. So for principles, we so we got 600,000, 900,000, 800,000, and 550,000. And then we just got those from these T-charts here. We added the first two for work in progress, intermediate, principles, advanced, and tax. And then for direct labor, that was the third one. So 22,000, 28,000, 110,000, and 90,000. For applied overhead, that was the fourth one. So 17,600, 22,400, 88,000, and then 72,000. And then I just added those up to get the total manufacturing goods cost. And then we had to subtract the less ending work in progress. So that was the red number in each of those accounts. And once you subtract those, you get the cost of goods manufactured. And then at the ends over here, we just totaled them up. And these numbers ended up being the red numbers left in credit. So yeah, that was the cost of goods manufactured.
Any questions? What about the cost of goods sold?
This part I got confused because, yeah, I don't know if I did it right. But what I did was for cost of goods manufactured, I took these numbers and put it here and then totaled that up. And then the less ending finished goods, I also got that from the work in progress from the finished goods chart. So all of these red numbers. And then the unadjusted cost of goods sold was me subtracting the 579,000, 96,000 from 579,000. And then the under overhead was from this T account, the manufacturing overhead T account. It is basically how much, if we either had an over or underhead, we just put that here.
Well,
and then I subtract.
What you would do, let's go back to that T account again. How much is in that T account overhead?
210,000.
Well, it's got 10,000 in it now, correct?
Yeah.
So the actual was 210. We credited 200. So we did what? We under applied. Okay. So let's go back to your cost of goods. So on your actual over under on that line, take out everything. I guess that's 32, and put 10,000 with a 200,000 in it. Put 10,000 there. And since you were under, you need to add that, I believe.
So add 10,000 to all of the unadjusted cost of goods sold?
That's a company item. So you're only going to do it in that last column.
Oh, okay.
You overworked. And that's it. So
Okay.
just purchases of the raw materials was a company item. The overhead also is a company item. We just do it once at that point. Okay. So you in working this, I gave you a spreadsheet. And so each team has a spreadsheet and should be able to complete the assigned problem. Any questions by anybody?
Not as of yet.
Okay. Great job, Tyler.
Thank you.
Okay. So let's see. So work your problems, get those, give it to Tuesday on those, I guess. So now we're ready to go to process cost accounting. Ready to go to process cost accounting. We will simply work on process cost accounting today. I think there are students who assigned in-class problems, so we'll work that today. And then you'll have a homework problem that's already assigned on that spreadsheet, and that will be Tuesday also. The requirement is going to be that in working that problem, each team will create its own Excel worksheet. So Kayla won't be sending anybody an Excel worksheet. In fact, I want her to have other team members on her team create the worksheet. But each team will create their independent worksheet in Excel. Excel is, when we're dealing with quantitative things, accounting, finance, and just numbers in general, it's just like Word. And so we would not typically today write something longhand and then go and put it in a Word document. But Excel is the same way. It adds and subtract and does calculations for us. So everybody will create their own Excel worksheet. There is no right or wrong way to do it. You got to work the problem. There is no right or wrong way, but I want to make sure that everybody becomes proficient at Excel. When you have a question or issue with Excel, you simply Google it, and you'll get instructions on how to really understand Excel. How many people in the class understand Excel? How many people understand it? Work with Excel. How many people do that?
I think I do.
Yeah, I'm good with Excel.
Yeah, I'll say I'm pretty good.
I'm pretty decent with it too.
And Jacob, so that's only 4 people. And so we got to get everybody proficient. This is a sophomore class, and I'm kind of assuming that you've had Excel working with it, but sort of pointed that out to, and I appreciate that last term. That's not happening. And so this is not a difficult thing. But as I said, high school students work Excel. And so we have to, in terms of the quality of our education and making sure it's at the right level, we got to work with Excel. So each team will have its own unique and different Excel spreadsheet for the process cost accounting. And of course, you got to get the right answer. So Excel just help us. But every team, I want to see a unique and different spreadsheet. Show team number and everything. So we clear on that?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so we're in the process cost accounting. And in terms of how we're moving now, we will finish process cost accounting today. And it's a repeat of a lot of things, you know, one little unique thing, but it's a repeat. Then next week, we move on to direct cost and income statements and cost volume profit analysis. So you need to reading and looking at that information. And we will finish those chapters by the end of next week. And then part two of the project will be due once we finish those chapters. You're supposed to be making those projects now and getting your raw materials and labor down. You're supposed to be getting that done. And so you got to have all of that finished so that we can finish up stage 2 of the project, which won't be due next Thursday, but probably the following Tuesday. And that way, you know, then I'll grade that stage at that point. So do apologize I hadn't gotten around to your midterms, but I will get that to you before the week is out. So you all will be breezing, I'll be working. As we move to process cost jobs, we looked at completing one product and a number of products, unique whole products that we could separate. When we have something like what happens here in Houston, so it's oil and gas industry, actually get crude out of the Gulf. And there's a set of costs that occur in the Gulf. Then they transport that crude to Houston and other cities, and they convert the crude into gasoline and some other byproducts, oil, etc. And so in process costing, we look at the process that's occurring in the Gulf, and we need to calculate all of these costs, you know, in this process here, so we can control and understand. We're not going to merge them with the cost down here. Then we have another set of costs here. So we have a set of managers out here responsible for these costs, then a different set of managers responsible for these costs. And so it's quite natural that we're going to calculate costs different. Like gasoline, it's you know, the crude is moving gasoline. We don't have set items. It's just kind of moving along. And so we can identify, okay, we got 100 units here and in the warehouse there and all of that. We, you know, that's not happening. And so we change how we do our calculation. It is still fundamentally the same thing, raw materials, labor, and overhead. So it's still the same thing, but we're going to process it different. We basically have one product, gasoline, moves from crude to gasoline, but we have 2 processes, and we could have 5 or 10 processes. We're just going to work with 2 in the course. So we got to calculate the cost in process 1, and then we got to calculate the cost in process 2. So to help us with all the understanding of what we'll be doing, suppose I hired 3 people to do a consulting project, and I paid them $300. Team member 1 worked 8 hours. Team member 2 worked 8 hours. Team member 3 worked 4 hours. And so how are we going to allocate this money, the money to them, assuming that they're all doing the same level of work, same qualifications? Are we going to give each person $100?
No, wouldn't you actually no, never mind. But I know
Give
you want to give you want to give them 100 each. Oh, I'll let you go ahead and teach.
everybody the same thing when y'all have a group assignment? Doesn't everybody get the same thing no matter how many hours are turned in? But this is money, so we might do it a little different, right?
Yeah.
So person 1 worked 8, person 2 worked 8, person 3 worked 4. So we have 20 hours of work. So if I divide 20 into 300, how much do I get as a weighted average of the pay for the hours? How much would that probably be?
15.
That would be what happened. I don't know how that happened. So we're getting 15. So we're gonna reward the people pay at the rate of 15 per hour. So team member 1 gonna get how much?
120.
Team member 2?
120.
Team member 3?
60.
60. So we sort of give them a weighted average based on 15. So we think about weighted average. So just keep this little example in the back of your mind as we go through and we begin working with process cost accounting. With stage 2, we sort of, stage 1, we're on over it. It doesn't change. But in stage 2, we have new accounts, working process 1 and a working process. Our journal entries look basically the same. Debit process 1, credit raw materials, all the raw material. Debit working process 1, credit cash for the labor. Debit working process 1, credit manufacturing overhead, the same cost. But instead of transferring the finished goods, we transfer from working process 1 to working process 2. So with debit working process 2, credit working process 1. At working process 2, we're doing the same thing with debit working process 2, crediting raw materials, working process 2, crediting labor, working process 2, crediting overhead. And then we make the transfer from finished goods to working process. But these highlighted journal entries at the end on the transfer is where we're going to change. Now, we don't calculate a selling price because I was drive downtown last week, and people were just everywhere, just driving. And so in process cost accounting, a lot of times, that energy, you don't have a predetermined selling price. It's always cost plus. So as we work with process cost accounting, we won't worry about estimating the selling price ahead of time because you don't have to get out there and drive. So you just go to the pump and you pay what's there. So you're not advertising what the prices are. So that is a change. And then, before we used to just all the, we're going to send out all the labor and overhead, and we're going to prorate the raw materials. Well, in process accounting, we prorate everything. So when we get ready to make this entry, we're going to prorate what's coming out of raw material, labor, and overhead. So that's the change.
So
So
when we make these like postings to the ledger, we're gonna have one for working process 1 and one for working process 2. Like that's what we're gonna call it.
That's what we're going to call it. Unless you want to call it refining or whatever, we call it what it would be. Given the industry, we're just dealing working process 1 and 2. And this could be more than one, it could be 3 or 4, and you would just label it. Or you could just number it, doesn't matter. Okay. But calculating the journal entry is the key. Okay, that's the key. So it says we begin with the first working process. We determine total completed units, convert the complete units to equivalent units, determine raw materials cost, determine total process cost, calculate the cost per unit of finished and working process inventory, allocate cost of finished goods and working process inventory, transfer total cost to the next process. The total cost transferred in one process is treated as a raw material in the next process. So here we have our in-class problem. And I think I made assignments, correct?
You probably did. I ain't really look at it, but you probably did.
I don't know. I was looking at Blackboard earlier, but I didn't see anything.
There's a
He had this
spreadsheet.
little Excel sheet that he had like everybody's study problem and in class and stuff. I know it's there
Okay.
somewhere,
Yeah.
but I ain't really look at it.
Okay.
Yeah, your team got something assigned. If you didn't have anything last time, you got something this time. Remember we said that?
Yeah, I know.
I know. Same thing for that 18. I guess it's teammate. What's your team, Cameron? Okay.
My team 8.
Okay. So here, our quantity schedule for production is 12,000. The raw materials purchased is 400. Raw materials transferred to work in process 330. Direct labor 272. So we're a little simpler for you. And the applied manufacturing overhead is 200,000. But we're told that even though we planned 12,000, we only completed 10,000 units. The 2,000 remaining units were 50% complete for raw materials and only 25% complete for conversion costs. Conversion costs for labor and overhead, they convert the raw materials to the product. Then we got working process 2. Somebody was assigned working process. I think this is team A, where raw materials purchased, transferred to working process, labor, applied overhead. Then we transferred to finished goods, 8,000 units. What left was 2,000 units, 50% complete for raw materials, 75% complete for conversion costs. And we sold 5,000 units at 4 times the cost. So this is what we're required to do. And this is where these are the problems that you are assigned. And this is the problem that you're going to create an Excel sheet for. So we'll do it in Word today. But when it comes to me, each team has this Excel worksheet. You got to make the journal entries, post to the ledger all manufacturing accounts, prepare cost of goods manufactured, and cost of goods sold statement. And I think team 4 had the cost of goods manufactured statement, I believe. No, team 4 had cost of goods manufactured statement. Yeah. Okay, so let's see if we can begin to make these journal entries. Once again, the journal entries stay the same, okay? They stay the same. So all you got to do is get the right amounts in. So for the raw materials, and with stage one, how much raw material did we buy? I'm gonna make me flip back up here.
What's the page number?
You're gonna have to find that page. This is the one I work from, this pages, but it's gonna be in the 380 to 400. Kayla, you on the page?
Am I on in the textbook? No. I'm just kind of looking at it with you. Would you like
Okay.
me to be on the page? I can do that. I just
Somebody asked for the page number. My pages are off because I've inserted things as I work with this. So it'll be in the 375 or something like that.
I'll look
Okay.
at it real quick.
So
I got it.
Good. So we purchased how much raw material since you have it?
400.
So debit raw materials 400, credit accounts payable 400. Wait a minute. Am I up too high? Oh, okay, I'm okay. And how much did we transfer to work in process for the raw material?
330,000.
So let's see if we can get any T accounts down here. So work in process one, we debit raw materials for 400, right?
Right.
And then we transferred to work in process one, how much? 330, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How much labor did we have? I made it easy for you. How much was it?
272,500.
2,500. And how much overhead did we have?
200,000.
So the overhead that we applied was 200,000. So how much is going to go in this journal entry here? How much of this are we transferring to work in process two? 272.5 and 200.
So we adding those two. Wait. Okay, hold on.
If you add them, how much is in the account all total? Is that? Yeah. Is that 800,500? 802,500?
Yeah.
So the question becomes, how much we transferring out?
10,000 units.
So we started,
So it's supposed to be 12,000 units. And you transfer out 10,000.
So you like transferring 83% of it out, correct? Yeah.
I guess.
Professor Boyd.
That was one too many zeros you put over there.
Did I put one too many over there?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
If you're
y'all
gonna,
don't talk too much because it's y'all problem that y'all supposed to have.
We're gonna transfer out
So we're
600.
gonna go to this chart. Like,
Why is there an echo?
the what? I got the echo.
I think
We
that's like
we started how many units?
12,000.
And we completed how many?
10.
1,000. And it's said in the assumptions that these items were 50% complete for raw materials and 25% for conversion costs. So this is 50%. This is 25%. So we have the 2,000 units that only did 50% of the work. I only got 50% of the cost in them. And so in terms of complete units, this is 1,000.
No, it makes sense. Remaining inventory, 2,000 units.
Let's go through the process and remember your example that I gave you at the beginning of class.
Maybe it's the wording because usually I can try to figure out what you're trying to go for here, but it don't really make sense the way it's worded.
I think it's because he put a period right there, and it threw me off at first too, but then I ignored it, and it kind of made sense.
So it's 10,000 completed. So these 10,000, they had all their work done, but this 2,000 only had 50% of the work done. And so the total, remember when we added up those hours? We added up the hours, so we're gonna add up the 10 and the 1, not the 10 and the 2, because the 2 is not gonna get the full cost. We call these equivalent units. But in terms of whole units, it's 11,000. And the raw materials cost was 330. So we divide 11 into 330,000 to get our unit. Remember before we divided 300 by 20 hours to get 15, so we're dividing 11 into 330,000. How much is that?
30.
That's 30. Okay. So the units transferred were 10,000. So how much does this cost we go transfer out for raw materials?
$30,000.
A little bit more.
300,000. It's 300,000.
I mean 300,000. Sorry.
300,000. So we have to use a weighted average process. Use the weighted average process because 12,000 of the goods were, of the 12,000, 10,000 were completely finished with raw materials. 2,000 had 50% of the raw material. So we had this cost of 330. 10,000 had a full portion of it. 2,000 only had a half a portion. So when we determine how much of the cost we transfer, we multiply that 50% times 2,000, we get 1,000. We add the 1,000 to the 10, and we get 11,000. The total cost involved is 330. So the per unit equivalent cost is 30. 10,000 transfer it out, we get 300,000. Any questions? Good. Do the conversion cost. I've got to do y'all side. I did the left side. You all do the right side. Take a minute to do the right side. Okay, y'all got it figured out? Well, one thing you know that how'd you do this? Undo. I better just write them in. Well, these top three lines are the same over here. So 1,000, 10,000.
Maybe I just don't understand what you meant by conversion costs. Like,
Raw materials and labor. They're the cost to convert the raw materials to the finished product. Raw materials and labor. So you got direct material, then your conversion costs, labor and overhead convert the raw material to finished product. So we're looking at, okay, how much of the conversion costs are going out? So what's our equivalent? So the 2,000.
500.
So that's gonna be 500.
so direct materials refers to just the raw materials used, and the conversion cost will be the labor and overhead used to convert the raw materials to a finished product. Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
So units started 10. I mean, units completed was 10,000 in this process. 500. So now this number is 10,500. How much do we have for conversion costs all total? Let me come up here.
150,000.
275 and 200 is how much?
Oh.
Oh,
472.5.
so 10,500 and the 472.5 is how much?
$483.
472.5 divided by 10,500.
Oh, divide. Man,
Divided. I thought
listen.
you add.
Yeah.
Right?
We're getting the
We're
weighted
adding.
average.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Oh,
Getting the weighted average.
It's 45.
Thank you. You've been quiet today.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to grasp everything, man. I'm taking it one step at a time.
Go bring the 10,000. So how much of the conversion cost are we going to transfer out?
450,000. Yeah.
So the total cost we're going to transfer out is going to be what?
750.
750. So this is how we calculate it, and this is probably, you know. So to start off, we just did it simple and basic. But as we get, dealing with larger numbers and everything, we're going to use a process like this, equivalent units process.
I have a question.
Yes.
Are those percentages always going to be given to us? Like, or do we always have to, really figure it out?
They will always be given to you.
Okay.
Now, I would say that might not always be the case, but these should be in your problems come out to be kind of round numbers. So if they don't come out nice and round, 30, 50 or something like that, then you might just go back and recalculate something if they don't come out nice and round, okay? Just the thought. Sometimes I don't work them out where they're even. So now we've made every working process 2, crediting working process 1. Now we got to do our posting. So we credit working process 1, 750. We're going debit work in process 2750,000. So how much is left? Work in process. That means about okay. How much is left?
52,500.
52,500. So that's what's left in the account. Okay, so teammates, you all had process stage 2. Let's see if you all can. So in this stage, we're getting ready to transfer the finished goods. We only finished 8,000. We had 10,000 we were working with. We only completed 8,000. 2,000 left, 50% raw materials, 75% for conversion costs. So we buy what, 250,000 of raw materials in this process. And how much did we transfer in?
150.
Okay, 150.
Hey, you didn't believe me when I said it?
No, this sound okay. Well, you were downing yourself so much today, so so how much was the raw materials?
You funny.
Got to go over here. So we bought how much of these raw materials? We just got one account for them. Gonna have more than one account. We said we bought how many?
250,000.
And how much did we transfer out?
150. Unless you want to go look at it again, because you know it might be doubtful.
All right, you got your cost of goods manufactured statement.
His ass trying to flirt.
Okay. Okay, so how much labor did we have?
275.
Overhead.
200,000.
And so we now to the important journal entry. How much are we going to transfer to finished goods? These are always our key journal entries. How much y'all going to transfer to finished goods?
8,000 units.
So how many units did we start?
10,000. Or would it be the?
How many got what the number?
This ugly ass dude.
How many working?
8,000.
Wait, where'd you get the 10,000 from?
The units transferred to work in process 2.
Completed, yeah, 10,000. They went from process 1 to process 2, 10,000.
Okay, got you.
And how many were completed?
8,000.
So if 8,000 were completed, then the partially complete would be how much?
2,000.
And what was our percentage?
The percentage that completed was
For raw materials, for the incomplete units. What did our assumptions say?
2,000 units, 50% completed for raw materials.
50% for raw materials.
Oh my gosh, they heard me.
Oh. Oliver, please keep your mic off.
I am so sorry. I don't know what's going on with my phone, but I apologize for that.
Oh,
I
that's
had a
your
little
phone.
road rage.
Okay. So it was 50% complete, correct?
Yeah.
What our raw, so our parts completed is what, 1,000? Y'all agree with that?
Yes.
So the total is gonna be what? 8 plus 1 gives you 9,000. What's our cost gonna be? Can't hear you all. Since one.
Since I'm not sure, I'm just gonna go ahead and shut up this round and let you teach.
Wow.
Even numbers. We'll put
Would it
900,000.
be
So what's our cost per equivalent unit gonna be? Why did I put 900,000? What's the cost per equivalent unit? Y'all, one of those questions.
100?
Okay.
So why did you put 900,000?
Units complete. 8,000. And so we're going to be transferring out what 800,000 in costs for raw materials. Okay. Why did we put 800,000 when raw materials were in process 1, 330? There was labor and overhead when they were made, but when we got them, we got the raw material 330. We didn't separate it out. So once work in process 1 finishes its work on an item, when it makes a transfer, that becomes a raw material when it gets to work in process 2. So all the costs from raw material 1 that are transferred in become a raw material in work in process 2. Yes, there was labor and overhead, but that's in that process. We get the item, just like we bought these items for 330. The company we got them in from had labor and overhead, but we got a raw material cost. Okay. So the bottom line is whatever you transfer in is added to raw materials. All right, y'all finish the other side and finish it up and tell me the cost transferred now. So y'all got to contribute something here today. taking a long time. We gotta get on break here. Y'all taking a long time.
We are students that are learning. Give us a break, man.
So you can always see that 3 lines are always the same. So what was our percentage complete for the conversion cost?
25%.
25%?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I thought it was
Wait, I thought it
75%.
said 75. It said
I don't know
75.
why I was thinking
Yeah.
75.
I thought it was 75. Going what he told me. So 75% complete. So the partial would be what, 1,500?
Yes.
When we add those together, 1,000 and 1,500, we get what?
11,500.
Wait a minute.
Oh wait, 9,500.
How much of my conversion cost in this?
Would it be the 475?
Taking your word for it.
Well, let's not do that. Let's make sure that's right first. There's no reason to do the same work
You want
twice.
me to turn it back? You want me to turn it back? Yep, 475.
Okay.
You don't take our word for it. We just get introduced to this today. What I tell you, man?
So what's our cost per unit?
50.
Oh, a nice even number again. So how much we transferring out? So what's the total conversion cost going out?
400,000.
What's our total cost going out?
How'd you figure out that number? The 400,000?
8,000 times 50.
That's right. Okay. Sorry.
Would it be 1.2 million?
Sounds good to me. So the amount that goes in that journal entry is $1.2 million. Okay, so got $1.2 million going. So $1.2 million going to finished goods. What was our total cost in work in process? We add all 4 of these up, how much?
I got 1,375,000.
375. So how much is left? 175.
175.
Okay, almost finished. Now credits overhead would have been 200,000. I don't know. Work with the actual cost. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens next. Sold 5,000 units at 4 times the unit cost. So what's the cost?
20,000.
Unit cost of 20,000. How many units over here?
8,000.
So what's our unit cost gonna be?
150. Look, yeah, 150.
See. How much of these costs on line 7 here, if we add them up?
150.
Okay. Okay, so if the unit cost is 150, what's our selling price gonna be?
It's 600. It's 4 times the unit. Yeah, 600.
How many did we sell?
We said 5,000 units.
Wait, how did we get 600? I'm so confused.
He said that the selling price is 4 times the unit cost.
The unit
Oh,
cost was 150.
got you.
You see the 150?
Yes.
That's just $1.2 million divided by 8,000. So cost here is $1.2 million, the quantity is 8,150.
Okay.
So like I said, since y'all have to have that gasoline, we don't need a price until we sell it. So what's our sales gonna be?
3 million.
And what's our cost of goods sold gonna be?
750,000.
How we get 750? What, 150?
Times
Times
how many we
5,000.
sold. Yeah, it's 5,000.
Just 750, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the calculator said.
Yeah. And that's usually right. That's usually right.
Right. Okay, so where are we over here now? So we need the credit finished goods for how much? 750? Debit cost of goods sold 750. So how much we got left over here in finished goods?
450,000.
Now,
Professor, are you uploading this today? Please upload this like after class.
if you request it, I will,
I'm requesting it.
just for you.
I am too.
Thank you.
Takes about a couple hours for it to for it to transfer it over. So it's a major 4K operation we're working on. Okay, team 4, we need to get our cost of goods manufacturer statement now.
We don't have a cost of goods sold statement first?
No, we get a cost of goods manufacturer statement first. Then we go to cost of goods sold.
Oh, that's right. That is the order of that. Huh? All right.
Okay. All right, tell me about direct materials, work in process 1. Beginning inventories was 0. What were our purchases in process 1?
Hold on, trying to get back to it. Purchases 400,000.
What was our ending inventory?
Go back up and see.
70,000. Would it not be raw materials minus transferred?
7. See how we're doing this. Okay, so on this 400, we transferred out 330, so it's 70. So the raw material used was what? How much?
330.
And how much was the labor and overhead?
Labor was 272,500, and the applied manufacturing overhead was 200,000.
So the total manufacturing cost was what?
Um, 802,500.
802. And of course, you would have this in that T account. What's our ending work in process inventory?
Yeah, I don't really know.
So yeah, T account focus as usual. 52.5.
Yeah.
And so the cost of this manufacture was what?
750,000.
Now we go to work in process 2, which had a big inventory of 0. Their purchases.
250,000.
So they purchased 250. Another 750 transferred in directly. So that was $1 million, correct?
So why is it 1 million and not 250?
Well, let's see. How much did we? How much was left in inventory? So we'll answer that. Left in inventory for the raw material in this part, 100,000, correct?
Okay.
1,000. So based on what I did, what's the raw material used?
That's 900. But like that's not okay. They said we only purchased 250. Why are we using $1 million?
That's what I was just asking because I was like, this is confusing me.
How much is in the T account for raw materials?
It's because we had the 750 left over
But that's what
plus
we
the 250,
Oh.
right? Or
So we're gonna have to use both of those.
Well, if that's the case, then why didn't we put the 750 in the beginning inventory? Because that clearly was beginning.
I guess we could. Well, it wasn't really, well, it doesn't matter. You could put it there if you wanted to, but we'll just leave it like this, but you can put it wherever you want it, just so your raw materials used is 900,000. How much is our labor and overhead?
Are we using?
Whatever's in the account.
Oh, okay.
275 and 200,000.
I just want to make sure those are the right numbers we're using because it kind of threw me off with the materials purchase. So.
So what's our total manufacturing cost? $1,375,000. Close out ending work in process inventory in stage 2.
It looked like it was 175, but I didn't want to be sure. Cause
So we tracked it out, so we get the cost of goods manufactured. What?
it's 1,200,000.
And that's the number. So, okay, so let's see if we can begin to move across. No beginning. So total purchases were $1,004,000. So we're just kind of going across now, less this 170. Raw materials used of what? $1,330,000. $1,230,000.
Yes.
Then the labor, if we add those, we're gonna get what? 272.5 and 275 is how much? I need my Excel now.
547,500.
547,500. Applied manufacturing, that was 400 each time. So our total manufacturing cost when we add
It's 2,177,500.
What were our ending work in process inventory?
$227,500.
27,500. So what's our cost of goods manufactured?
1,950,000.
Million what?
1,950,000.
Now we know that cost of goods manufactured is always what? This number. But you all don't have that number, okay? I got all kind of costs in here. Team 4, how we gonna straighten this out? Purchases were million 4, 70, 230. Direct labor. Overhead. 200. $30. So this adds up to 177.50. That add up. So this adds up to 177,500.
Yes.
Then we subtract this out, the 227, and we get how much? We get the 1,950,000.
Yep.
Okay. Now, it's important as we look at this T account that when we bring these costs over, can't count them 2 times, can't count them over here and over here. Okay, so we got some overlapping costs. So let's see if that will help us. Suppose we take the 750 out because we had it over here. We had it over there. So minus 750. So I'm just taking out my overlap costs.
Hey, Professor Boyd.
Yeah.
So I gotta go.
You got to go. It's not 2
Yeah.
o'clock.
Listen. I got real life now. Real life gotta start. I gotta go. But have a good weekend. And yeah.
But see if you can get this down here. Whatever was that overlapping cost that we transferred over, we can't count the cost over here and over here also. As a company, we only incurred the cost once. It just went through another process. So we're going to subtract out the overlapping costs that we transferred. And once we do all the subtracting out, then we're going to get to our 1,200,000. Okay, so we still have to get back to 1,200,000. And it's going to we'll do our cost of goods sold and gross margin quickly. Our sales, we said, were 3 million. Cost of goods manufactured, we bring that down as 1 million. And our ending finished goods inventory was how much? We look at our T account for finished goods, it was 450. So the unadjusted cost of goods sold was 750. We didn't have any adjustment information here. So the cost of goods sold was 750. And our gross profit becomes what? 2,250,000. So this part is fairly easy. Okay, so I want you to run these subtractions back through these overlapping costs. And if you run those subtractions back through and change this number and this number and this number, you'll get back to your 1,000,002. So the cost you transferred in, the company from these individual processes, yeah, they got different costs. But when you come to the company, they didn't incur the cost twice. They only incurred it once. So we subtract out the overlapping costs that we transferred in. And by subtracting out the overlapping costs, we get back to this 1,000,002 that was transferred to finished goods. That's what you have to do. That's a little different there, a little overlapping costs, but you should be able to handle that. So, okay, so that is, those are not the hardest things to do. This first time we hit it, of course, so it's new to you, but you got your problem you're saying. You are required to create an Excel spreadsheet to work your assigned problem out. So all these problems will be due on Tuesday. You have a joint costing problem you got to do, and then you have a process costing. We've gone through this quickly. It's not that involved, really. And so as you work through it, it should not be that a problem. But one of the things I want to be looking at is whether each team created its own Excel spreadsheet. Similar to the one I did in process costing. So you'd have one, you have your assumptions and your journal entries on one page, one sheet, your T accounts on the second sheet. Possibly you would put your equivalent units, calculation charts on that first sheet, a separate sheet, wherever you want to put them, and then your statements on another sheet. So is that clear by everyone in terms of what's expected when you turn that problem in?
Yeah, that's clear.
Okay, Cameron said it's clear, so it's got to be
clear.
Okay.
I don't think I had a choice to say no, that's not clear, but
So, are you gonna upload like which problem each team has to do, or have you already put that in?
Already in there. It's
Okay.
already in. There's a spreadsheet in assignments that lists all of this. So it's in assignments. And then I'll put in where you submit. So these ones in process costing are really not that involved. They're simpler and more basic, really. We're just trying to get the concept of equivalent units. That should not take that long. The joint product costing ones will take a little more time, especially for those 18s that are doing dual allocations, dual overhead allocation. So you'll have those, you'll notice that in the ones that you have. So those will be a little bit more involved as you have the 4 books. But these were procedure things. And so with this done, then we'll get into material that is not as integrated along. We'll be moving into cost volume profit relationships next time. Okay? So you all have a great rest of your vacation. And as you work problems, I'll be grading papers. And we will see you all on next Tuesday.
Okay, but don't forget, right after this, please upload this video because we're gonna need it. But you also have a great vacation as well.
Okay. So what happens is it has to convert it. So it's going to take about an hour or 2.
Okay, that's
convert.
fine.
But I will try to make sure it's up before 5 o'clock today, since you're since you're such a dedicated accounting major.
Well, I mean, our group already planned on working on the problem right after this.
Okay. So what I'm saying is that it takes about an hour or 2 before the session is produced.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
Right. Mhm.
Because it's the conversion process, because they do it in 4K, it takes a while. But go ahead and work on it. You have your primers as soon as it's ready.